Now we're going to see the triangle attack from the close guard. Normally what we see is people doing a front triangle, right? That's fine and all if your legs are not that big and if you have long legs, okay? The problematic with that is if you do the front triangle, you're way more vulnerable to getting stacked, which is something I don't like, right? So I'm going to show you how I do my triangle, okay? And detail by detail, I'll explain to you why I use them, okay? So let's start from the close guard here. You know, as I mentioned earlier, if I have like a front triangle here, look at where my knee is. My knee is behind my opponent's head. Okay. If I try to bend this, it creates a space here, right? So if I try to lock him in front, obviously my knee is very high and he can stack me pretty easily, right? So I don't want that. What I'm gonna try to focus on is having the interior of my knee, the joint or the angle next to his neck, not behind his head, but on the side of his neck here. That's gonna be my main focus of my position. The other one is not to be in front of him because I don't wanna get stacked, right? Because if I'm here and Jimmy wants to just get up on his leg and try to stack me, yeah, it's easy, all right? I don't want that in any case. So I'm gonna use my body and shift in a 90-degree angle to get my arm inside and to get in this position here. Now look at my knees here. It's right under his ear. Now, when I lock it, all his neck is inside my leg, right? So this is a position we're gonna be working on. The way I normally start it is I'm in close guard here. And as I mentioned earlier in the basics of the position, I like to control the head. This hand is just gonna grab the wrist. I don't need to push it between my legs. I'm gonna just hold it there and use my legs to go around it to get a high guard, okay? And so I hold him here so he doesn't, because if I just have the collar, Jimmy can still put his head up, exactly. If I hold him here, a lot harder. And if he does try to go there, I just lift it. The timing between he tries to lift his head, it blocks, I pass my legs. Or just hold the head, grab the wrist here. I'm just gonna push him a little bit so I can open and go close my legs around him. Okay. Keep in mind, I'm explaining now, so I'm not holding his head. Normally, I'll do it at the end, like in a real sequence. I'm always gonna hold the head until the end. So I'm here right now. I'm not trying to lock a triangle right now. My main focus is to cross my legs and use my heels to keep my position, my opponent's posture down and hold his head. If Jimmy tries to stand up, or yeah, I'm breaking his posture. From here, I keep the hand in the hair. This hand is gonna dive under to go get the uppercut. If, for whatever reason, your opponent is very long and you're having a hard time getting the uppercut in the legs, I'll show you later, you can get the uppercut under the armpit. Here though, to help me do the pivot I need, I'm gonna keep the pressure on the shoulder with my knee, and my left leg is just gonna go inside out like this. I keep the pressure, my knee's not moving, I'm holding his shoulder in place, still squeezing. I'm gonna go on his hip and use this to dive under and pivot 90 degrees. Now here, on one leg is putting pressure on his neck. I'm gonna release a little bit. The other one here is holding his shoulder in place, so I'm squeezing him, right? And from here, I can just bring my knee towards me, close my triangle, and finish it. The reason we do it like this is I'm creating a squeeze, my V of my knee here on the side. And my other knee is gonna put pressure on his shoulder to trap his neck, right? And while holding his head down, I'm preventing him from getting space and trying to move his head and shoulders. Right? So I'm trapping him on each side. I'll do this from another angle. So here, from the wrist and the head, I can push a little bit my leg, so we're using the legs again, push, and go get my position here. I keep my hand on the head. Look here, I'm squeezing both knees, both heels to the ground to break his posture. My knee's gonna keep hold of his shoulder on the hip. I'm gonna dive inside and go 90 degrees. From here, I can always just close here and squeeze. As much as possible, you want both legs to be pointing the same direction. This is not a tight squeeze. This is. Look at the difference in space between my legs just by doing this. This is what you want. So I hold him here. I'm not gonna do this like this. I'm gonna try to lock it and put my legs pointing the same direction and then put the pressure. If I can, if I need to, I can always do like a meat cutter and scissor it, right? If ever you're having trouble finishing the triangle by closing it, there's two options that you could use. One of them is to not even close it. By putting the pressure at the right place, many times against bigger guys, I'm gonna finish them anyways. The other one is by creating more angle, so it's gonna be easier for you to go close it. By angle, I don't mean like twisting compared to your opponent. I mean bringing your knees towards you, bending a little bit over, and closing it there. So I'm gonna show you both. I'm gonna start by the one without the close. So I'm here, I go inside, and right here, what I want is to put my heel down, squeeze, and this knee is gonna squeeze on the shoulder, and I'm gonna hold it. Okay. The other version is I'm here, I can't finish him, I'm gonna bring my knees towards me. Okay? So I'm gonna bring him, close him here. So depending on your flexibility, length of legs, size of your legs, and size of your opponent, these are different variations that you can use for this triangle. So I'm just gonna do it one last time in the full sequence. So I'm not gonna explain as much, I'm just gonna do the triangle.